Welcome back to the Team to Be Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir. This is the post-game show. The Miami Heat lost to the Boston Celtics 103-85 in a pretty bad loss. And even though I think it was an expected loss, the Boston Celtics are still a very good team. They were shorthanded, missing two starters. The Miami Heat were missing Tyler Hero, obviously, and it really showed how much this team depends on Tyler Hero from an offensive standpoint. The Miami Heat's offense was horrendous and embarrassing, and the Celtics had enough, even though their starting point guard Drew Holiday was out, and then Jaylen Brown was also out. So two of their top players, but the Boston Celtics are a really deep championship level team. So of course Jayson Tatum was there, and then Porzingis and Derek White, and this wasn't a fun game. So this was the debut game also for Andrew Wiggins, Davion Mitchell, and Kyle Anderson, and their debut and this new era without Jimmy Butler has gotten off to a very slow and bad start. So the Miami Heat previously lost to the who did they lose to? They lost to the Brooklyn Nets, and they scored 86 points, which was a season low this season for the Miami Heat. And it's unreal watching an NBA team in the modern era score under 90 points. Like every team is averaging 110 plus points per game. The Miami Heat scored 86. They follow that up with an even worse game against the Boston Celtics and go from 86 to 85 for a new season low. So in back-to-back games, the Miami Heat have scored 86 and 85 points, which is just not good enough. It's not going to cut it in the NBA. So for this game, though, specifically, again, this was Andrew Wiggins. We'll highlight Andrew Wiggins, obviously, first because he was the centerpiece in the Jimmy Butler trade package. And so Andrew Wiggins obviously has to adjust to a new environment, just like his new teammates, to a new coaching staff. He's been relied upon, obviously, and in this game was relied upon, especially with Tyler Hero out, to help uplift this Miami Heat team, who now is in the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference race right now. So they're back in the play-in race. There is just 2 months left in the regular season. And so it's not really fair to blame the new guys coming into a new system, new team mid-season, obviously with new teammates. And obviously it's going to take time for them to develop chemistry and to assimilate to each other's game flow and style. But Andrew Wiggins didn't have any excuses. He understands that this is going to be a challenge. He accepts the challenge moving forward. He said, I'm going to try to do the best that I can do. He said, we have great teammates, great coaching staff. He said, everybody has been wonderful to him so far in the week that he's been with the Miami Heat team. He's been excited to join the Miami Heat. He said, we didn't win today, but coming down the stretch, we need to be better and we need to improve and make adjustments. And again, I think the offensive end is going to be rough for this Miami Heat team. We added some guys who are two-way players in Davion Mitchell and in Andrew Wiggins, but neither of them are elite offensively. They did show the potential, though, with our new starting lineup. The starting lineup will adjust if Tyler Hero is able to play in our next game, which is against the Thunder, which should be very interesting. But with this game against the Celtics, we started off with Davion Mitchell, so he got his first start in his first game with the Miami Heat. And then we had Andrew Wiggins. We had Bam, Khalil Ware, and who was the fifth? Alec Burks. I forgot about that. He started in place of Tyler Hero at shooting guard. So first quarter, the Miami Heat's defense was amazing. Davion Mitchell's on-ball defense was great. He was locking defenders up, and he was fighting through so many screens, which was super impressive in my opinion. We saw Andrew Wiggins guarding Jayson Tatum straight up and did a pretty damn good job in that first quarter. At one point, with 2 minutes left in the first quarter, the Miami Heat were holding the Boston Celtics to 13 points in that first quarter, which was damn impressive. They ended up scoring 18, but they held them below 20 points. Andrew Wiggins got off to a good start, had 6 points in that first quarter. His first points were 3 free throws after he got fouled on a 3-point attempt. The only issue there was he didn't get to the free throw line for the rest of the game, but he had 6 points in that first quarter. He only had 5 more in the rest of the game. So again, slow start. And with this game in general, the game was over after the second quarter. The Boston Celtics came out hot, went on like a 13-0 run. The Miami Heat could not hit anything. This was pretty reminiscent of the fourth quarter against the Nets. And they were outscored 34-19 in that second quarter. The only positive and the last positive thing in that game was Bam Adebayo hitting a bank three-pointer at the buzzer as time expired. But yeah, pretty bad performance for the Miami Heat. Third quarter, it got even worse. They were down 36-22. So this game was completely out of hand and not even close in the second half. The Heat did hold the Celtics to 15 points in the fourth quarter. They scored 15 and the Heat scored 20. But overall, this was just a bad loss to a Celtics team who obviously is a contender. They're probably the favorites to repeat and win the championship again, even though they're the second seed in the East behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't have any faith in the Cavs, but after this loss, the Heat entered in seventh. They're still in seventh. They have a 25-26 record. So every time this Miami Heat team goes 1, 2, 3 games above 500, they come back down to earth. They get back to 500. They've been below 500 a couple times this season, so they typically bounce back. I don't know if they're going to be able to bounce back against the Thunder, obviously, who are the best team in basketball. They're the number one seed in the West, and it's going to be a tough game versus the Thunder, but you never know with this Miami Heat team. And also, I'm not upset that this Miami Heat team is playing bad. I do get upset because I care about this team, but without Jimmy Butler, we are essentially a rebuilding team. Like, we have a soft rebuild because we have an all-star in Tyler Hero. We have Bam Adebayo, who's a former all-star. We have some good pieces. We're not fully tanking, obviously. We're going to make the playoffs this season. Most likely might be back in the play-in if we continue to play the way we have lately offensively, but we're a young and up-and-coming developing team. Like, we're going to have to go through the growing pains. We're going to have to take a few steps back before we can even take a few forward. And we're going to have some rough games. Like, we're a mediocre team. We're a young team. Like, we're relying on Jovic, who's 21 years old, Kel'el Ware, who's 20 years old. We got Jaime Jaquez, who's having a sophomore slump, who is still in the rotation, but he's only 23 years old. We have Pella Larson, who's 22 years old. Tyler's only 25. He just turned 25. Bam's 27. So our core players are in their 20s right now. So average age has significantly dropped now that Jimmy Butler is off of this team. And again, it's going to take a while for this team to figure it out, but defense has got to be our identity first and foremost. But we need to be able to score. And we have just not been able to figure out spacing. Our three-point shooting has been off. We live and die by that three, essentially, it feels like. If we're not hitting threes consistently and effectively, this team has trouble scoring. There's very little room or margin for error with this Miami Heat team. Like, they have to win the rebounding battle. They have to win the turnover battle. They have to shoot almost perfect from the free throw line. They have to shoot like above 35-40% from the three just to win games against mediocre teams. And we also lose and get blown out by mediocre teams. So losing to the Bulls after they traded Zach LaVine and they're shorthanded, like, embarrassing. They're a tanking team. Losing to the Nets, who don't have Cam Thomas and other pieces, they're a tanking team. Like, you can't lose those types of games as a up-and-coming team. Losing to the Boston Celtics, defending champions, that's understandable. Losing to the Thunder tomorrow or whenever we play them, that's understandable. Losing to the Knicks, the Cavs, whoever it may be, but you shouldn't be losing to the Bulls. You shouldn't be losing to the Nets. You shouldn't be losing to the Jazz. Like, you shouldn't be blowing 18-point fourth quarter leads to the Kings, even though you're on the road. This was like 3 weeks ago or whatever it was. Like, you just can't do that if you want to grow and develop. And again, there's going to be a ton of growing pains. So if you go through the box score real quick, we'll do this quick. Bam Adebayo has been playing a lot better now that he's moved to the 4, and Kel'el Ware has been starting. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Bam Adebayo. He had a solid game last night. 22 points, 12 boards, 4 assists, only 6 for 17 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, which was that prayer at halftime, 9 for 10 from the free throw line, which was good. No turnovers. Bam was committing a lot of turnovers like his teammate Tyler Hero in the last few games, but good game for Bam. Wiggins in his debut played 30 minutes, only 11 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 3 for 12 from the field, 2 for 8 from 3. He had 1 block, 1 steal, a couple turnovers. So he's adjusting to his new team. He'll be fine. Kalawair had a tough go against KP with that size, and Al Horford, who is still a savvy veteran, good defender for his age. 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. He was 4 for 12 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. He did have 1 block. Alex Burks was solid. He played 26 minutes, 13 points, 7 boards. He was 5 for 7 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. Davion Mitchell, this guy is a beast when it comes to the defensive end. And he played pretty good. Like, he was a good pass first point guard. His shooting is not great. He was 0 for 4 from 3, 2 for 8 from the field. He had 4 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He was solid. No turnovers. He needs to step up, obviously, once he gets more assimilated with this offense. But he looked good on the defensive end. Nico, solid off the bench. 2 for 9 from 3, which wasn't great, but 4 for 11 from the field. 10 points, 8 boards. Terry Rozier, I don't know why he continues to play 25 minutes. He was horrendous in this game. The Heat were up 12 or whatever it was at one point, or 13 at one point in the first quarter. Terry Rozier comes in, they go on a 15-0 run. So he's been terrible. He was a minus 23, which is the worst on the team. 9 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 for 12 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. I don't understand why he's still playing in the rotation. Spo needs to cut him loose. He needs to give other players more time, especially when Hero and Hawkes get back into the lineup. I don't think you play Terry more than 12 minutes per game. You see if he has the hot hand. If he does, you keep him in the game. If he's not, please don't play him. Duncan Robinson, only 23 minutes. He was 2 for 3 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3. He looks solid. He was playmaking, distributing. He was getting to the paint. 5 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, and he only played 23 minutes. Burks was playing solid. He played 26, but like the fact that you gave 25 and 26 to Burks and only 23 to Duncan, like Duncan was looking good. Like if Duncan, again, you could put him on a short leash too. He's not as bad as obviously Terry Rozier, but if he's not being effective, if he's getting hunted defensively, then take him out and then put in Pella and put in Kyle Anderson slow-mo, who was 0 for 5. He did nothing this game. But I don't understand what Spo has been doing. Spo has been terrible this past month, and his substitution patterns, his rotations, his play calling, his offensive schemes have been bad, man. I don't know what's going on with Spo. Like, yes, he's the best coach or one of the best coaches in the NBA, but he deserves criticism. Like, he's been playing and closing Terry Rozier. He's been keeping Terry Rozier in that closing lineup or in that fourth quarter lineup for way too long. He's starting fourth quarters without Tyler Hero and Bam and bringing them in way too late, like with 8 minutes left to go. Like, there are young stars. Like, they need to be playing way more, honestly. And like, I don't want to run them in the ground like Tom Thibodeau does his team, but still, like, Spo, the journalists need to start asking some tough questions because he needs to improve right now because this is one of his worst seasons. But anyway, that's all I have for this post-game show. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll be back with another one against the Thunder soon. So that's going to be rough. But anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.